And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Nguyen versus Guerra, step forward, please.
20-year-old student Tawny Nguyen is suing her former landlord, speech teacher Sylvia Guerra, for the return of her $450 deposit and for the value of stolen property. Sylvia's countersuing for the remainder of the lease.
Ms. Nguyen, you're a university student?
Yes.
And according to your complaint, you rented a room from the defendant.
Yes.
And she rents rooms to several students.
Yes.
And it is your claim that she wrongfully evicted you from
Yes.
the room, that she should pay for that wrongful eviction,
Yes.
or a whole bunch of expenses. In addition, it's because of her negligence that some property of yours was stolen out of the house. You wanted to pay for that. And you wanted her to pay for the return of your security deposit.
Yes.
Ms. Guerra says that she tried to be nothing but nice to you, that nothing of yours was stolen from the house. As a matter of fact, because of your negligence, property was taken from the rest of the house. She believes you should be responsible for that. And in addition, she is suing for the remainder of the rent that you owe her under your lease. So she's counterclaiming. When did you sign a lease for the room?
January 28th, 2004.
Can I see the lease, please?
Yes.
When did you move out?
I moved out on March 7th. The problem was she had made the 10 o'clock rule that no guests could come in after 10 o'clock. So I had my boyfriend come in one time with me at 10:30, and Ms. Guerra had a problem with it, and I said, I'm sorry, I will never do that again. But the main problem was that my boyfriend was left at in my room for 2 hours on Wednesday on March 3rd. That's when Ms. Guerra got upset and pulled me aside and told me that she didn't appreciate the fact that my boyfriend was there alone by himself. And Ms. Guerra started using obscene languages at me and calling me names. Then my boyfriend interfered and told her to stop talking to me like a mom, like even less than a mom. And Ms. Guerra started fighting with my boyfriend. Then she turned to me and said that I had 3 days to move. And this is what she gave me, the 3-day notice to perform conditions or quit. Saturday, I gave her the letter saying that upon your restated conditions, I would like to stay and perform the conditions to fulfill my contract.
You say, well, I'm going to comply with the terms that you indicate in the lease that I should have been complying with all along. But if you have a problem with it, you may choose to end the lease. And my obligation under the lease will also end. So what you're doing is covering yourself, which is very smart. You say, I'll leave, but if I leave, I'm not going to be responsible for any more rent. Right?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Guerra, let's move on.
She acknowledged that it was uncomfortable for all the other females in the house to have her boyfriend staying there when she wasn't there, day and night, him entering all hours of the night through the back door. And she would not agree to stop doing that. So she had to choose to either stop doing that or leave.
Actually,
I will, and she signed this agreement, said I will leave on Sunday, March 7th at 10 p.m. This will leave no obligation or financial responsibility on my part to fulfill the lease agreement, which ends September 1st. Tenant, she signed it and you signed it. So why, madam, are you here?
Because she would not give me the deposit money back, and also the money that I had lost during the burglary for totaling $750. She would not give
so let's talk about the burglary first.
Yes.
Ms. Guerra said that the house was in fact burglarized, but it was burglarized because of your negligence in leaving the back door open. She also says, and listen to me very carefully, you say you lost $750 worth of property. Is that right?
Yes.
Ms. Guerra said that she has a document, she said this in her answer, that says otherwise. May I see it, please?
I also have a document.
I didn't ask you for anything yet.
Let me turn to the right page. This is the police report.
Okay, can I see it, please? The method of entry for this burglary was a house unlocked. They came in through the back door?
Yes.
Unlocked, and that's your door. Is that right?
No, that's not my door. That's everybody's door. Just because she gave me the key to come in late at night does not mean that it's only my door.
But she gave you the key to come into the back door late at night. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Am I correct that this burglary occurred on the 17th of February, 2004?
Yes.
And am I correct that you reported items missing some 2 months later on April 6th, 2004?
Actually,
Just answer my question.
yes.
You reported it to the police after you were evicted.
Yes, because
Get real. Okay. Now, why can't she have her security deposit back, $450?
Because she did not pay rent for March, and I found somebody that came in April 1st who's paying less rent, so I'm also losing each month by her not fulfilling her lease
Ms. Guerra,
agreement.
you have a counterclaim that's nonsense.
Okay.
You signed an agreement with the plaintiff that if she moved out, you were releasing her from any terms and conditions under the lease. So how could you now file for a claim for $3,000 for the money left remaining under the lease? How can you do that when you signed an agreement saying, if you go, I'm holding you harmless? How can you do that?
I figured since we were all suing each other, she was suing me, I would just sue her for what we also had in writing.
Think again.
Okay.
Think again. I don't like to be bothered.
Okay.
You owe what?
I believe that the item stolen from my room is what happened, and I did not have the police report right away because she had promised me that she would call the police to do that for me. And when
That's too bad. If I believe you, it's too bad, and I don't believe you. I believe that you set up this additional lawsuit in April, 2 months after the incident, and after you were evicted, and she didn't return your security deposit, put your hand down. And after she didn't return your security deposit, a month after she didn't return your security deposit, you decided to make a whole big lawsuit.
I had no choice. She made me sign the paper.
Grow up. Listen, give her back $300 of her security deposit. She did, in fact, live there for a full week in March. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $300. Your counterclaim's dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I don't feel that I broke the rule because Ms. Guerra, after the burglary, allowed me to have my boyfriend come in after 10 o'clock.
Her boyfriend lived there, and I was trying to not let that happen and get in the way of evicting a student during the semester.
I never really spoke to her, never really talked to her. I just come in, be with my girlfriend, and that's it, and I would leave.
I think Ms. Guerra scammed everybody with by only having international students live there, and she mistakenly thought that I was also an international student.
If she's suing me for items that were not even there, I figured I just will go ahead and countersue for what was really stolen from me.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Morathi versus McCarty, step forward, please.
Child care provider Gina Morathi is suing her ex-husband, mental health associate Franklin McCarty, for stealing her income tax return. Franklin says he supported Gina and her 3 children for 7 years.
Miss Morathi, who is this gentleman?
This is my husband, John.
Okay, and this is your former husband.
Correct.
How long were you married?
We were married for 6 years.
You have children together?
We have 1 child.
How old?
He's 6.
And you have children from a previous marriage?
Correct. And that
How many?
I have 3.
According to your complaint, an income tax return that was due you was deposited in a joint bank account.
Correct.
That it had not been switched over after or during your separation and during the divorce. And Mr. McCarthy used that money.
Correct.
And he doesn't deny that. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
How much was the income tax refund that you got?
I was supposed to receive $3,012.
Your defense is that you supported her and her 3 children for years.
Yes, ma'am.
And the money is yours.
Yes, ma'am.
That's no defense. You have no defense if you spent her money. Yes, you want to say something?
Yes, ma'am. For me, supporting her kids, it wasn't my obligation to do it. It was her previous husband.
You're absolutely right. You don't have to do it.
So through discussions that we had while we were together, she was going to take him back to court for back child support and also for medical expenses. And I was going to let her keep that. I wasn't going to argue because that is actually more than what the case is all about. Because through all this, her mother and I put my insurance and money into the oldest daughter having dental. The oldest daughter...
Mr. McCarthy, listen to me very carefully, sir. I know that when you got this money, when you realized that it was her income tax refund, you were lying in bed with your eyes open and conjuring up all the reasons to support your argument that that money should morally, I'm speaking. You made me bite my lip because you went to interrupt me. That money should legitimately be yours because you took on the responsibility of her 3 children and she was supposed to get that money from her husband. If she got the money from her ex-husband, you would have let her keep that money, but she never got the money from her ex-husband, so you couldn't let her keep it, but now she's got some money from an income tax refund from her job, so that should be yours. That's what you're telling me.
No, ma'am, that's not correct. We didn't know until June of this year that her income tax came in, because of the IRS told her that they were going to take her income tax because of her bankruptcy. So when the money came in and I opened my new account, I had direct deposit from previous jobs, my state income tax, my regular income tax, and a paycheck still going to that account before everything would be switched over. So when I went in there, I said, I need to take this much out, because I asked for my balance. I said, okay, I need to leave $1,650 in there and open a new account.
Just a second. Why were you leaving First of all, you want me to believe that for 6 months you didn't look at this account and you just had your checks go in. Are you independently wealthy? You live on a trust fund?
No, ma'am, I don't.
All right. Most people who have a job and they're waiting for their income tax returns, especially when they're getting $4,000 back, they know when it goes in there. Or she'd make a gift to you of $870.
Well, we have a son together.
So what? Especially when you find that you have money in the bank. Then you say, listen, I don't want you to give me this $870 because if I really needed money, now that we know that there was $3,000 in there that belonged to me, just give me the difference. Now, if you got this $2,142 back, it's my understanding from your papers that you went through a personal bankruptcy. Is that right? Who gets this $2,142?
United States Bankruptcy Court.
So you are really here on behalf of the United States Bankruptcy Court. Is that what you're saying?
I was ordered to turn it over.
You had how much in debt when you filed bankruptcy?
Approximately $20,000.
And to whom?
A lot of medical bills, basically.
What were the medical bills for?
Psychiatric.
Whose?
Mine.
So if I were to award this money, the check would be made out to the United States Bankruptcy Court. Is that right?
Correct.
And that's what you want?
Yes.
Perfect. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,142. The check is to be made out. Make sure that my clerk has the bankruptcy court number. Okay. Thank you very much. That's all.
I do know I took out money, some more money, but I also put some more money in there.
If he had any complaints about anything, he could have brought it up in our divorce hearing.
It could be possibly a free ride. I just don't know.
I just need to pay the bankruptcy court, that's all.
It's done and over. We have to get along because we have a son together, and hopefully we can put this behind us and both of us take care of our son.
Sarah Gardner is suing her former live-in boyfriend, Aaron Zaleski, for rent and a loan to pay a traffic fine. Aaron is countersuing for the unpaid balance on an apartment lease.
Everybody. Yeah, this is case number 403 on the calendar in the matter of Gardner versus Zaleski. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Ms. Gardner, you and Mr. Zaleski lived together for a period of time. It is your claim that he owes you for some old bills, some rent, and fines. Mr. Zaleski says that he agreed, when the two of you parted ways, to a restraining order issued in your favor. And sort of as a quid pro quo, you agreed to take on the responsibility of the bills and the house and the lease, etc. Is that right, sir?
That's correct, Your Honor.
As far as the fines were concerned, he says he never borrowed any money from you. So, when did you live together?
From July of 2003 through the end of June 2004.
And did you both sign a lease?
The first year, his credit wasn't good enough, so I was the only person on the lease for the first year. There were 2 leases involved.
Do you claim that he owes you any money from the first lease?
Yes.
So if he owes you money from the first lease, why did you sign another lease with him?
Because the first lease, I was giving him an opportunity to get back on his feet. He wasn't paying rent from his first place. His roommates were kicking him out. So we had the agreement that he would pay me back if I gave him the opportunity to get back on his feet.
But he didn't do that. He didn't pay you back. And he didn't pay his other roommates back.
Correct.
And despite that, you signed yet another lease with him.
At that time, he was an investment. I had already lent
He's
him.
a bad investment. That
Correct.
means you had bad judgment.
I did.
So now let's start out with lease number 2, because I'm not interested in lease number 1. When did you sign the second lease?
in May of 2004.
Did you sign the lease too, sir?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Very good. And how much was the rent?
My share was $505 a month.
Is that right?
He's correct.
Okay. Did you pay it?
I paid for the first month that I lived there.
How many months did you live there?
Well, 17 days after we moved into the apartment, she informed me that she wanted to end our relationship, and she instructed me that I was to go out and get my own apartment and take care of myself on my own.
So you're telling me that you paid May's rent?
Actually, we moved in, the lease started June 1st.
You mean the landlord gave you a freebie for May?
We moved in at the end of May. They gave us a few free days at the end of May to move in.
Okay. And he moved out when?
The last weekend in June.
Did you pay June's rent?
Yes, I did.
Show me.
I paid all but $30 of it. I have it all documented.
Let me see. Jack. What are these things, these receipt things?
Those were receipts that I was giving a copy to her every time I made a payment to her.
Excuse me?
Excuse me? Did you ever see these before?
No.
Of course not. He does nice tabs, but Mr. Zaletsky, what you're trying to tell me is that the woman that you were sleeping with every night, you would give her a receipt if you gave her $40. I just want you to see if that's what you're trying to tell me.
After this process, probably.
What does that mean? After this process, probably. I want to know, sir. You were living with her?
Not at the time the payments were made.
Oh.
Those were made after she had kicked me out of the apartment.
Did he give you money after he was kicked out of the apartment?
No.
Of course not. By the way, do you have a checking account?
No, not right now.
Did you?
Did I have...
Ever have
Yes.
a checking account?
Yes.
Let me see.
It was from October 2003 to May 2004. Those are all payments made for bills and to Sarah Gardner, check duplicates, and bank statements.
Why don't you have a checkbook anymore, sir?
Because the balance that I had at this bank account was overdrawn, and I did not have time to open up a new banking account.
So you had an overdrawn bank account because you didn't have any money?
Correct.
And yet you were giving her money for some old bills, according to you, that going back to 2003. Is that what you're telling me?
She can be very demanding, Your Honor.
Uh-huh. Okay. 505 you owe her for June because you have no payment here for June, other than the yellow little receipts that I don't believe. Yeah, you can give this back to him. He's got nice color. He did a nice job here, I must say. This is a very, very nice job.
Not as good as she did lying.
Sir, you don't understand. There is no payment for June's rent.
I have the original cash ledger with every payment that I gave her.
I'm not interested in 2003. If she was dumb enough to sign up with you again after you owed her, allegedly, all this money from 2003, that's her problem. That comes under the category of being dumb. I'm just talking about June 2004's rent. And if you can show me that you paid $505 for June 2004's rent, I'll give you credit for it.
Well...
Can you or can you not?
The total amount of rent due from the first lease...
I'm not interested in the first lease.
I overpaid her, Your Honor.
Listen to me.
No.
Show me a check for June's rent.
I cannot do that.
All right. Now, what about this fine, Miss Gardner? When was it? What was it for?
In October of 2003, he got his license taken away. It was for an old parking ticket he didn't pay for. In May of 2004, he wanted to get his license back. He had about $1,300 in fines. The only actual evidence I could come up with that I paid was $475. I know there was more, but I have evidence for $475 of those fines.
Can I see it, please?
Yes.
What about these fines, Mr. Zaletsky?
That was money loaned so we could get those cleared up so we could...
We. I don't understand the we. Who got the tickets?
I did.
So when did it become a plural, we, so that we could clear them up?
When we were moving on to the next chapter in our relationship and our lives after she graduated college and we were moving to Madison.
They're your fines. Why should she pay them?
She offered.
Because he promised to pay me back.
Of course he did. Do we have a new boyfriend, Miss Gardner?
Yes.
Does he have a job?
Yes, he does.
Does he pay his own way?
Yes, he does. And then some.
Good. Well, at least you learn.
Real quick.
Eventually.
Right. Learn from our mistakes.
Okay. Now, you, sir, say that she agreed to sort of swallow hard with regard to this entire debt. If you consented to a protective order, even though you really weren't harassing her, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with the fact that she signed up for a protective order because you were bothering her.
Yes.
You were summoned to court.
Mm-hmm.
You consented to the order.
Correct.
Show me where she said, I will assume all of the responsibility.
Can I just say something?
I want to look at it. You can say whatever you want after I look at his evidence.
It's the last sentence on page 2 and page 3. She stated it twice, Your Honor.
I'm going to look at it, sir. Oh, what she says is, Aaron owes me several $1,000s, but I'm willing to cut my losses to get him out of my life.
Correct.
Well, she is cutting her losses, sir. She says you owe it several $1,000s. I just cut it down for you to $980.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today, ex-boyfriend Aaron Zaleski owes for breaking an apartment lease. Aaron says Sarah told him to move out.
Now let's get to your counterclaim.
Okay. Sarah Gardner kicked me out on June 17th, 2004.
Sarah Gardner, according to you, told you that she thought it was time for you to get out of the apartment, correct?
Actually, it was a trial separation where I got my own apartment and she had her own apartment, but we were still trying to continue to be friends. There were instances where she even cooked me dinner a few nights, watched movies after I was gone.
Listen, not Oprah. What's your counterclaim about?
My counterclaim is to make up the difference in rent accrued in the apartment since she got evicted and kicked me out. I signed the lease along with her mother as a co-signer, and the rent currently due is $4,985, and I am requesting half of that amount, which is $2,492.50.
Why? Who's suing you?
They will be suing as soon as the apartment is re-rented. She jumped the gun and decided to sue before it was closed.
Your counterclaim is premature, sir.
So would her claim be then too, wouldn't it?
No, sir. You lived there in June. Your behind was in the bed in June. You didn't pay the rent, so you owe her for that. You gathered up hundreds and hundreds of dollars in fines. She paid them. That is not something in futuro. The fact that you think that the landlord may come after you for unpaid rent for the lease that you signed is speculative. Do I make myself clear?
Clear.
Counterclaim is dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $980. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Said one more thing. Look up. Look up. Say thank you, God.
Thank you, God. Honestly, I'm just glad that's over. I hope I never have to see him again.
Unfortunately, my best was never good enough for her.
He's got issues.
She gave me the greatest year of my life, and I've never been loved more by anybody so genuinely, and I'm going to miss that, and it haunts me every day.
Notary Public Marlene Ruddock is suing her ex-boyfriend, bail bondsman Tim Dean, for forging documents and stealing her possessions. Tim is countersuing for harassment.
This is case number 139 on the calendar in the matter of Ruddock versus Dean. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mrs. Ruddock, it is your claim that the defendant has your property from your home, television, furniture, etc. The defendant says that you sold him this property, and he has a notarized bill of sale to prove it. How do you know him?
Years ago, when I was in property management, I leased him and his best friend an apartment. And through the years, I had gotten married. Recently, we had gone back in contact.
How did you do that?
I had made a phone call to him. Me and my husband were having issues at the time. And
were you and your husband still living together?
No, we were separated.
So you contacted him for what purpose?
We were together at one time.
You were a couple?
Yes.
My question is, you contacted him why?
Out of caring feelings, that kind of thing.
Okay. When did you contact him?
I believe it was in September.
And you and your husband were not living together at the time?
No.
Okay. So how did he come into possession of your furniture?
Back in November, around Thanksgiving time, he works with a bail bond company, and him and his friends had gone into one of their clients' homes and were staking it out. And they were waiting for the client to come back into the home and get money back from him so he could be released. And my notary stamp was involved in this, and he clearly told me that he had taken it, used my name, signed my name on this power of attorney to remove the belongings from this home.
Just a second. What does that have to do with your furniture?
What that has to do with it is the state of Nevada had pressed charges on him and had got in contact with me in December.
Just a second. So far, all you've told me is that in September of 2003, you were separated from your husband, and you put in a call to Mr. Dean because you and he were a couple at one time.
Correct.
That's all I heard. Then I heard some bubba-mices about him being in somebody else's house with Richard Dreyfuss on a stakeout. Do you understand?
Correct.
We're not at your house yet.
Okay.
With your furniture.
Basically, what happened in December is I'd been contacted by the state of Nevada.
No, you're back there again, Mrs. Ruddock.
I had to leave for my safety.
Mrs. Ruddock, I don't know how he came to live in your house, madam.
Because he had established residence there.
Well, we didn't get to that. So let's go back to September when you placed a phone call to him. You said hello. He said hello.
We became a couple again.
I don't know what that means, we became a couple.
He moved into my home.
When did he move into your home?
Probably the first part of October, along with his daughter. Then in December, I was contacted by the state of Nevada that my car had been involved in a criminal activity.
Your what?
My Cadillac, my car, my vehicle that Mr. Dean had been driving. And at that time, me and him had decided to go our separate ways, and he had contacted me when I was at work on my cell phone telling me to bring his belongings back to him. Or I could say sorry, and this would all go away.
Just a second. Miss Ruddock, you are all over the place, and I'm having a really difficult time following you, madam. Was he living in your home, or was he not living in your home?
Yes, he was living in my home.
So in December, he was living in your home?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And at that time, on that same day...
What day?
It was December 8th or the 7th of 2003.
Okay.
And he had called telling me if I didn't bring his car back to him, then everything could be okay with us if I said sorry. I feared for my safety at that time because I'd been in contact with the state of Nevada. I got my children and went to California because I had told them what I knew, what he'd done with my notary stamp in forging my name on this power of attorney where it goes back in November. And I left with my children at that time for fear of my safety. When I came back on December 14th, I had called the police, and they went up with me. They looked at the 5-day on the notice, and the cop handed it to me. He says, "Are you aware that you've been served this 5-day?"
I have no idea what you're talking about.
This 5-day right here.
What do you mean you have been served with a 5-day?
That's what
a 5-day what?
A 5-day notice to leave my home.
Who was on the lease in your home?
My husband, myself, and my children. This is the lease right here. So I held the original lease.
Well, your children can't sign a lease.
No, but they just put 2 adults, 2 children.
Okay. December 7th or 8th you left. Is that what you say? And you came back on December 14th. And between December 7th or 8th and December 14th is when you say he came into possession of your furniture and your belongings?
Correct.
Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, Mr. Dean. You do not deny that you have Mrs. Ruddock's furniture and television, et cetera, but it is your claim that she sold you all this property. Is that
yes,
right?
Your Honor.
All right. So let me hear how she sold you the property, sir.
Well, let's put a little clarity on this. As Ms. Ruddock was saying, I knew her years ago. She was dating my bounty hunting partner at the time. And once they broke it off, we dated for a couple weeks till I found out that she was still seeing her husband.
Okay. Listen to me. I don't want to go back that far,
okay,
Mr. Dean. You have her furniture. Prove to me, sir, that she sold it to you because she owed you money.
That's what I think, but what it is, it was another little thing she was doing as far as so her husband wouldn't get half the belongings.
You swore in your answer, sir, that she sold you her furniture because she owed you money. That's what you said. So I want you to try sticking to one story. Explain to me how she owed you money, for what, and when she sold you the furniture.
She told me that she was selling me the furniture for the money that she owed me, but I knew because...
Just a minute. Tell me what money she owed, Mr. Dean.
I'd paid off her warrants.
Paid off her warrants. Warrants for what?
For bad checks, Your Honor.
Okay. And you paid them off how, sir?
By giving her the money which she never used to pay the warrants.
Show me.
Show you?
Show me check, money order, withdrawal from a bank.
I gave her cash, Your Honor.
Show me check, money order, or withdrawal from the bank.
I don't have that, Your Honor. Just my daughter is a witness attesting to that.
I'm not going to ask her a question. I mean, what do you think you were coming to court for, sir? The tea dance?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Ex-boyfriend Tim Dean forged documents in order to steal her belongings. Tim says Marlene was trying to hide property from her ex-husband.
First of all, let me see the bill of sale, and then you're going to explain to me exactly how she was compensated for her furniture. Show me the bill of sale and then explain to me how she was compensated.
Gave it to her. She has a copy of it, Your Honor.
You have the bill of sale?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. And this is also...
Don't speak. Just show it to me. I have a feeling you two of you deserve each other.
This is forged, Your Honor. That's what my...
I didn't ask you a thing. I asked you for the bill of sale. Do you understand?
Yes.
I mean, I think that you're a con artist as well. I know he is. I don't think you're much better. We'll show this to him. Let's see if this is... Is that the bill of sale, sir, that you showed the police?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. D. So I am correct, sir. When she came back on December the 14th, she said, give me my furniture back. You said, I have a bill of sale, right? She sold me the furniture.
Correct.
Right? She sold you the furniture for a big screen Mitsubishi television set for $1, all household furnishings for $1, all tools for $1, all appliances for $1, all wall hangers for $1, all bedding for $1, and a 1993 Cadillac Eldorado for $2.50.
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, are you still living in the apartment, sir?
It's a house, Your Honor.
Are you still living in the house?
Correct.
Good. With all of this stuff? With all of this stuff?
No.
Yeah.
The only thing.
Yeah, listen to me,
The
sir.
only thing of value was the big screen TV. In fact, everything
Now
else.
listen to me, sir. Now I want you to listen to me very, very carefully.
Okay.
Did I tell you about 5 minutes ago that I'm smarter than you are? I don't think you believe me. This is not a bill of sale that reflects the value of this property.
Exactly.
And if what you're telling me is that you knew that what Miss Ruddock was trying to do was to fraudulently convey marital property to you, is that what you're telling me?
That's what I'm telling you.
Then what I'm telling you is this isn't worth anything. Do you understand? If you are aware that she is trying to commit a fraud and you are complicit in that, then this goes in the garbage. Do you understand, Mr. D?
She owed me the money, Your Honor.
No, now we're getting back to, oh, she owed me the money. And what I'm telling you is, show me. I want you to show me. And if you can't, say, I can't.
I can't, Your Honor.
Good. Then I find that that is a fraudulent conveyance, and within 5 days, she will be there with a moving van to pick up all the items on that piece of garbage, including all of the household furniture, the television, etc.
Everything of those items is mine, Your Honor. As far as
Listen to me. Listen to me, sir. Show me. Show me, Mr.
Those items are mine.
That is too bad. And I'm telling you, she is coming to pick up your property.
No, she's
the
not,
property,
Your Honor.
sir. Yes, 5 days from today. Absolutely, Mr. Dean. That is what's going to happen, sir. Now let's get to your counterclaim. I don't want to hear anything else. Counterclaim, Mr. Dean.
Your Honor, I know exactly what's going on here, and I don't appreciate it.
That's too bad, sir. If you're not going to get to your counterclaim is dismissed with prejudice. Step out. 5 days from today, the court will enter an order. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I've got a temporary restraining order from this woman.
As I've said before, he's a shyster.
She slashed my tires.
Me slashing tires is not my style, that's his.
She tried to tow my vehicles.
He knows that everything he said was a lie.
She's psycho.
I'm glad Judge Judy ruled in my favor.
Nursing student Angela Nemechek is suing her biological daughter, 17-year-old Jessica Simons, and Jessica's adoptive sister, Kathy Brooks, for the money she spent when Jessica came to live with her. Jessica and Kathy are countersuing, claiming Angela stole Jessica's Social Security checks.
All rise. Now, this is case number 449 on the calendar in the matter of Nemechek versus Brooks Simons. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
It's like a lot of witnesses here for a relatively simple case. Miss Nemechek?
Yes.
I assume that this is Jessica?
Yes.
According to your complaint, you are Jessica's birth mother.
Yes.
And Jessica was adopted by a family when she was 4 years old.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are her sister.
Yes.
Adoptive sister?
Yes.
And both of her adoptive parents passed away, unfortunately, from illness. for a period of time, she was staying with you.
Yes.
And then Ms. Nemechek, Jessica decided that she wanted to come and live with you.
Yes.
And she did for a short period of time.
Yes, Your Honor.
3 months, 4 months?
2.5 months.
That was
And during-
3.5 months.
3.5 months. And during that time, you purchased some clothing for her and had other expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then there was falling out.
Yes,
And
Your
she
Honor.
went back to her sister's home.
Correct.
She and her sister came and got all this stuff that you had purchased for Jessica.
Yes.
And you want to be compensated for that.
Yes.
You're Miss Brooks?
Yes.
You have a counterclaim on behalf of your sister because you have guardianship of her now.
Correct.
And that is for reimbursement from the Social Security checks.
Correct.
That was sent to Ms. Nemechek. And you want that money back because you say that was hers to spend.
Correct.
Ms. Nemechek, how old was Jessica when she was adopted?
4.
And did you have contact with her from age 4 to age 17?
Yes, I did.
When?
Periodically. I've had phone calls with them. I've went and seen them. Me and their godmother, the one that adopted them, was really good friends. That's the reason why I let her adopt them, was because of my sickness that I do have, and currently still have.
Is that a physiological or a mental illness?
Physiological and mental.
Did you support your daughter over the years with money?
When I seen them at times, I did when I could financially afford it.
I'm talking about regular support.
No.
When your daughter came to live with you, I assume that either you weren't getting along with your sister, is that right?
Well, I just wanted to go live with my mom. I just wanted to get to know her. I wanted to have a mother-daughter relationship with her.
Do you approve of that?
At first, no, because of all the problems that we have had with Angela.
What kind of problems?
She would call their schools when my parents were alive, trying to get them out of school. Jessica and I are, we do fight a lot, and I think we do because you don't go from being a sister to trying to be a mother. And, you know, when someone is, 14 years old, our relationship changed because...
Were you married when your parents died?
Yes.
You have children?
I have 3 children.
And you took your sister to live with you?
I took both of my sisters to live with me.
And this was the older sister?
Yes.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. She take good care of you?
Yes. I love her. She's my sister. When Jessica came to me and told me she wanted to know Angie, sorry.
Would it be better if I asked you questions?
No, I need to say this because it's important. I don't know what it's like not knowing your parents. So who was I to tell Jessica that she couldn't get to know her biological mother? Unfortunately, Angela, in the whole time since my parents have had Venus and Jessica and their older brother David, my parents adopted 3 of her children so they could stay together. She never could step up to the plate and act like an adult and knock on my door and say, hey, Kath, I'm sorry your parents died. I really want to help. I really would like to get to know my daughter.
She would sneak around and see us, basically.
So it was very hard for me to let Jessica go, but I spoke with Jessica all the time. She gets a death benefit from my parents. That's what she has left of my parents.
And what did you do with your death benefit, Jessica?
I signed the money order over to my mother so she can put it in her bank. And she said she would save the money for me so I can buy a car.
Did you do that, Ms. Nemechek?
I did put that money in the bank. I put it in my savings account, and Jessica kept asking me for money, and I kept taking it out of my savings account and giving it to her. I do have proof of that.
Well, how much in the 3 months that she was there? You got 3 checks?
I got 2.
How much were they for?
$931 each.
One was $931, one was $731, and that was it.
How much did she get?
$931 each a month, and it was a total of $2,700 and some odd dollars that was given to her from her death benefit.
Well, let's say, for argument's sake, it was about $2,000. When your daughter decided to go back, how much of the money that she turned over to you did you return to her or put in a savings account in her name?
She had none. she had taken that all out with withdrawals.
How could I...
Just a second.
Okay.
Let us assume that that's true. Who are you suing and for what?
The money that the two checks that she received, that Kathy had gave her, we gave her more money besides that.
You're her mother. Who's supposed to take care of
I signed my rights over.
Then
I signed my rights over.
Then Miss Nemechek...
She's getting a check, Miss Kathy Brooks.
I'm speaking.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Adoptive sister Kathy Brooks for money she spent on Jessica's behalf. Angela says Jessica lived with her for 3 months when her adoptive parents died.
If you don't want to be her mother, then you say, I'm sorry you can't come to live with me. But when you buy her clothes, things that you should have been buying for her for 17 years, and she decides, I am speaking, and you give it to her, that is a gift. You don't get that back. You get to say, I'm sorry it didn't work out. I know I wasn't much of a parent to you when you were growing up. I know that you had lovely parents. Fortunately, I wasn't there for you. This little bit is my small bit, aside from the fact that you got a couple of $1,000s that you spent, because $100 here and $100 there over 3 months don't come out to $2,000.
I have all my goods.
I don't care what you have. What you don't have, clearly, is a conscience. You're supposed to do the right thing.
You have no idea what I went through in the past 17 years with
That's not, listen to me. Whatever happened to you over 17 years, you visited on yourself, and you also visited on your children. Because whatever problems you had, you decided to have children. Mm-hmm. They didn't make that choice. You made that choice.
Yes,
so quite frankly, nobody is interested in what you went through over 17 years. That's your problem. You visited your problems on innocence. And when you do that, you don't get sympathy. And when you do that...
The reason why I gave up my kids is because I have leukemia. I was told I had 2 years to live.
Listen to me very carefully. If God blessed you and said, while you had 2 years to live, here you are, 15 years later, still alive and kicking, then what you do if your daughter comes back to you and you've given her a couple of $1,000s in clothes that you didn't take care of over her entire growing up years, and you decided to do it,
Your Honor,
and if it didn't work out,
her clothes in the